Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to this academic panel where we will be discussing the timeless and ever-relevant topic that is, the social media encourage cyberbullying. For this, I am pleased to introduce the members of today's panel. To my right, I am joined by Leo Alavis, an elementary school parent, and Laura Vega, a high school teacher. To my left, we have Rodrigo Lopez, a college student, and Fatima Pereda, an academic expert on the issue in question. Now, without further ado, let's get into the discussion. I would like to start with you, Diego. So, as a parent of young children being introduced to social media, is it a concern to you the potential harmful effects that this can have on your child's well-being?
Yes, of course, especially with all the news in the internet saying that social media affects their child's health, their how they perceive themselves, the possibilities they have against their partners, and it's crazy to think that our sons are basically glued all the time to their phones, and nowadays they're especially private about their stuff. So as a parent, when we want to know what's going on within their personal lives in their phone, we're completely foreign to that atmosphere. So, looking for alternatives for cyberbullying online, you easily see that the solutions are very drastic. Either cutting your son from technology, allowing them certain times for them to see social media. But if we think about it, at the end of the day, technology is the new era's way of our children to explore the world. So cutting them from technology is also cutting them from the rest of the world. So yes, I'm pretty concerned, not just because of the effects this may have on my child, but because I am basically, I do not have the tools to help my son in case he suffers from this.
Thank you. Now, Laura, continuing with you. As a high school teacher, are there usually any warning signs about students potentially having an unhealthy relationship with social media? And any, what patterns have you noticed in their behavior?
Thank you for your question, Andrea. As a high school teacher, honestly, I spend a lot of time with students and I've learned to analyze their behaviors in certain situations, especially in a dangerous situation. Some warning signs I have noticed in students might be losing interest in school or their own academic interests and school activities. These also can include sports activities, and this can result in a lowering of their grades and the lack of commitment to school. Another warning sign can be students constantly being on their phone, even during class hours, and disrespecting the faculty and their own teachers. Now, for another perspective, in the case of bullying, the student normally presents changes in attitude towards authority, meaning teachers, faculty members, principals, counselors, and when asked about the topic, they close themselves. This can also show in changes in attitude towards peers, meaning other students. They normally exclude themselves from their other peers or friends and stop interacting with other schoolmates.
Okay. Now, on our last side, Rodrigo, do you think cyberbullying is only applicable to young children, or do you think it's still an issue that affects students on your schooling level, and if so, in what ways?
Yeah, well, in my opinion, obviously cyberbullying is a bigger problem in lower levels as secondary or high school, because I think there's where students are obviously younger and are not mature enough to know what's correct and what they don't have to do. But obviously, I think there are also cases in college where cyberbullying is still a problem. I don't think that at the level of as I said, for secondary or high school, but I think there always is a student that is still kind of immature and well applies this cyberbullying in college level. But yeah, I think it's very more common in lower school levels.
Okay. Now, Fatima, are there any studies or research backing up this theory that cyberbullying is a problem for social media, or is this issue being blown out of proportion?
Yes, there are many academic studies focusing on this issue. The most recent one, especially from the University of Georgia, states that increased hours spent online may be associated with an increase in cyberbullying behaviors. And this is shown mainly in adolescent males. I think one of the most important factors to consider is that social media offers anonymity and there is no retaliation. So being in social media has a different set of social rules to interact, so it allows people to be more aggressive or rude. Also, teenagers are still in the midst of cognitive development, which is why spending a lot of time in social media exposed to a worldwide audience can make them aggressive.
Thank you all so much. Now, I would like to ask each of you individually the question of what can each of you do from your position to prevent cyberbullying through social media. Starting with you, Laura.
In a school environment, there is so much we can do to prevent cyberbullying due to the fact that cyberbullying normally starts at school with their own classmates in their own classroom. Some actions that teachers can implement are school campaigns against bullying and mainly encouraging the prohibition of social media during school hours, which is what we did at the high school I teach, and this has led to a lowering of cyberbullying and a better environment for school at every student. However, this only goes to a certain extent because the students are not always at school and we don't allow faculty members to interact with students on social media, so we're not always informed in situations of cyberbullying, and this responsibility might fall on the parents' hands.
In my case as a parent, I think that anyone who has a child, it's their only purpose to educate their child within the socially standards of society. That being said, it's hard to keep track of your child all the time. So more than just asking your child to be good, to not bother their peers, to have a well-behaved attitude within the classroom, it's important to teach our child to have a balance between technology and actual life. If not, as we've seen multiple times, our child get too in depth with this social new era that they begin to lose track of what's actually around them, and that's when we start to see problems as cyberbullying, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, as a parent, I would say keep track of your child, be there, be aware, and teach them according to what they know.
Yeah, well, from my position, I think, I'm the youngest here of the panel, as I'm still a student. So I think as I'm younger, I have like more presence in social media, and I have contact with younger people. So I think starting with that, I can spread awareness for this problem, and because sometimes it's not talked about enough. So I can use social media to talk about it and make people think about it. And also we know that as college students we often have programs to help younger students. Personally now I'm participating in a project where we tutor younger students. So I'm not saying I'm gonna tell them that don't do cyberbullying, but I think it all starts by teaching them to be respectful and to be good to their classmates. So yeah, I think that's how I can participate in this campaign against cyberbullying.
From my position, I think there's still a lot to do. Especially, I think the most important thing is to raise awareness so that people in schools, like principals and parents and students, know the risks of being in social media, and by being informed, they can make more responsible choices, being exposed to this audience.
Well, thank you all for your kind responses. I'm confident we'll learn today something new, a new light on the take, and we can approach it from a different perspective. Now, I would like to give the opportunity to the audience to engage in the conversation. You are welcome to join in and direct your questions to the panelists. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Today we had the opportunity to join forces as parents, teachers, experts, and students to continue to spread awareness on this issue that may not be new or emerging, but should never be looked past or normalized, not only for the sake of younger generations, but all of us. And with all that being said, that would be it for today. And I would just like to clarify, finally, that each of the panelists' contributions were based on their own perspectives and opinions, and according to the group of sector they were representing.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.